reviewing the graphic design and layout website mock-up. So let's go over the project sheet so we know what we're after. This is a 4-page mock-up of a website of your choosing. Should be rated PG. You can do it in either Illustrator, Photoshop, or InDesign. You'll also produce first a process book. This book essentially shows the research that you've done to get to your point. So I'm asking you to research 2 similar sites, do screen captures, do some evaluation on those sites, and then create thumbnails of possible directions. Not exactly matching the website. That's not what research is about. It's really, you use those as inspiration, right? Okay, so here's our process. Figure out what site you want to do, check out the videos that I've uploaded here. So here I'm explaining and demoing. This is how to size down, or how to create a multi-page PDF and how to reduce your file size. So let me just mention that the PDF file of everything should be 3 megabytes or less, or equal to it. So some of you didn't do that and you'll be marked down for it. But just to let you know, that was a critical spec included. Okay, so here we go. So you're going to figure out what site you want to do, and then you're going to find 2 similar sites to the site you will create. You'll capture 4 pages of each of the 2 sites, so a home page and 3 secondary pages, and place those in the document. Make notes about it. My suggestion is to talk about the grid, the color scheme, the navigation options and location, and the image assessment. Create some thumbnails, and as mentioned, or as I showed in the demo, the thumbnails are very small sketches, the same proportions as your site, or whatever project you're doing. If it's a poster that is rectangular, vertical, like 2228, you don't do a square, or a wide rectangle. That is not a thumbnail. It's something different. I have no idea what it is, but it's not a thumbnail for that project, right? Okay, so yeah, you'll add your thumbnails to the process book. You'll pick some direction to pursue. The site should be at least 1366 pixels by 768 pixels. And gather your assets, put it together, use a header, main content, and footer. And then once you have these recurring elements, you duplicate your artboard 3 times to represent your additional pages, and then basically complete the website and then make sure it's less than 3 megabyte. Okay, so I think that sums it up. And I'm going to review it, and we're going to start with our 2B graphic design students, and then we'll move through the 1B class. So this is a site that this student really likes, specifically a designer inside a site called Awards. Awards type of thing. But so in this evaluation, I'm looking for more hard facts. So simple and stylish with digestible user interface isn't really what I'm after. I'm looking for more specifics, really, like, does she have a grid? She have a grid, or they have a grid? Do they, and this one, I mean, if this is the same site as this, I can see these 2 going together because this box and this box are about the same. They divide about the same spot. But this, I don't know. It just could be smaller. And this could also align if this text aligns. So there's a lot of things I don't know, and I'd like to have seen it in the text, but it's not there. Another site, again, I'm looking for more those specifics. What colors do they use? What kind of typeface? What photos are actually being used, and is there a grid? So looking closely at, I'm going to just go to the top half, the thumbnails here. Here's direction A in a vertical line, and direction B is in a vertical line. I think they did a pretty good job with the thumbnails. So I think it, let's see. One thing that is to me a little confusing is this splash page having portfolio about contact and more, and then more things here, but then I don't see where the rest of, I mean, this may be a pull down, but it probably should be noted here, this little back arrow. I'm assuming the back arrow goes back to here. This states what section we're in, but, and here we switch, so this is a little confusing for me too, is that we switch from vertical, horizontal. This one, there's the nav is in all four corners, and if you choose one, like the about, which is in the bottom left, then you get the content in the bottom left, and you have the other pieces, which I think is kind of interesting. That's pretty nice. Okay, so let's get rolling. Website. So we know from here that Charles is a designer and photographer. We can look at his portfolio, his about, his contact, and then some social media. What my first thing is I feel like there's not really a grid. Everything is kind of stuck in the corner, which you don't do. And I feel like everything is almost the same size. It feels like this is a bold, I don't know, 20 point, bold 20 point, maybe bold 15 point. I guess one thing that I think is important is to have different sizes of type, because it feels like different texture and it makes the page more interesting. Also, I think it would be nice to have some work right here so we know what we're getting into. Just to kind of welcome people and go, hey, this is what I'm about. So we have it here when we click portfolio. I feel like it should be here. Okay. Okay. So under portfolio, you can choose photography or graphic design. Here's an about page, which I think is nice and really, honestly, important when we're talking a personal website to have a picture of you. It's a really good idea. Here's our contact page. I love the playful illustrations in it, and I think the colors are nice too. So nice job, Charles. This one, Fabiola. So she has a header, main content, and footer. She has bars that kind of help, and colored areas that help separate, and hopefully we see these continuing from page to page. Nice social media. We have kind of a sense of color going on here, which I like. I feel like this Fave Beauty and these don't really align. They don't share the same baseline. They're not centered. So this feels a little confusing right here to me. Also, this is a really hand-done type logo. So it feels like it's personal, it's custom. And then we go down to this type, which feels very corporate, almost money feeling. So they're very different type that we're looking at here, and it's honestly a little confusing. Okay, here makeup is clicked, and then we get eyes, lips, and face. That's not confusing. That's really clear and straightforward. I like the little sub menu up here that gives folks the option. Okay, yep, more shopping, and I think it looks clear. one thing that's a little bit difficult is that we're missing, I mean, there's basically, okay, so there's some basic things that are staying the same. The header area, which I'm assuming is, well, not assuming, it's all of this white area right here where we have the logo, the nav, and the social media icons. And then the footer is staying the same with the color and the different links here. What's not staying the same, what's jumping around and is making it rather confusing visually, is the main content area is not holding to a grid. So granted, the grids on the left and right, the margins are staying the same, but we have 3 different size boxes that pop up. And 3 different size bars that pop up. There's a shop when we click makeup, and a skincare. It seems like we should see the same size bar in either shop, or maybe there's a special 25% off, but it still stays in the same bar size. You know what I mean? And instead of going, so you see what's going on. It's jumpy inside the main content area. Also, the logo jumps a little bit from a capital to a lowercase. Not sure why that is. So it's important that grids stay the same and people feel like they don't have to refigure things out for every page they go to. And that's not only true for web design, but it's true for magazine and book and anything where you're designing multiples of something, brochure designs, that type of thing. Keep to a grid. Yes, you can break it, but for good reasons. But careful when resizing like this. Okay. I appreciate the, and I can see where some inspiration came from here and here. Notice that the boxes are the same size, I believe. Maybe they're not. It seems like this white bar is. This is a little different size, shop all face and shop all lips. So I'm a little, I don't know, we'd have to look at that. I'm missing the evaluation on this. So that's what's not here. I do see some thumbnails. I only see 2 for this one. And okay, so, okay. 1 direction, 2 direction, I'm guessing. Well, they look like, so labeling would be helpful to me too. So I know what you're showing me. They look like the same design. And then this up here. Looks like, oh, I see this HMMCS, or maybe it's HMCS. So these look like these are the 4, and then these are the 4. Okay, yeah, I gotcha now. Okay, that's helpful. Okay, good. Thank you, Fabiola. Okay, so here we go to, I'm just gonna probably have to rotate both of these. Okay, very good. So that was done. This is I'm in Acrobat Pro. All right, so, okay, here we go. Page, this is the, okay, so we have this big graffiti logo, a homepage about artist events, news galleries, contact us, social. This is a little bit large down here. Should be super quiet. And to make it smaller and legible, it probably shouldn't be in this texture because it's not going to be difficult to read in the texture. Okay. I'm not totally sold on the brick, but okay. I understand it's a wall. I get that, but it's pretty distracting. So when I say distracting, I mean there's darks and there's lights and they're right next to each other. So my eye goes to the brick a lot more than the content. So if this background were less quiet, I think it would be a stronger design. I mean, more quiet, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so what has to happen is these, to make things legible, they have to go into these boxes to stand out against this brick, right? And really the brick is too distracting. It's just too much. I think the rest of the design is pretty darn good, to be honest. Although you can see the margins jump around a bit, which means you're not keeping to a grid. There wasn't a basic outline that you were. So notice where this edge is. It's right right next to the bird's beak, and this is right under the large part of the G and maybe straight down to the Y. And as I go to the next one, now the margin jumps around to between the C and the O, and then this one moved a bit too. And now I think that one is right, but then this one moved in because it's right below the I right now. And then as far as the horizontal, or the horizontal lines, this one's touching the logo, which is usually a no-no. And then this one is, you know, at the top of that, or the bottom of this brick. And then if we go to the next one, now we're moved up. So keep to a grid, like have some guidelines regardless of what program you're using, and then stick to it. Here's why. It feels more organized to the, I mean, even if it's like on a subconscious level, as they go from page to page, they don't have to reorient themselves every page, okay? And again, that goes for website, magazine, book, brochure series, anything you do in multiples. Okay, so we have a lot of, so these are great. Okay, good. And let's see if we can see some website captures here. Okay, it looks like you followed this one pretty well. Okay, good. So here's my suggestion on this, on the thumbnails. If you start with your grid at your thumbnails, then it's, if you're thinking of grid on thumbnails, you are more likely to keep it to that grid when you're doing thumbnails. So, and then when you move to the design, you're more likely to keep it to that. Okay, so I'm spending a lot of time with these initial ones, and it'll get faster because I'll go, yeah, we just talked about grid. It has some grid issues, right? All right. These look like thumbnails and some explanation, or some honeybee website. Hard to read a little bit, but okay. Font Eris medium. I guess these are thumbnails. Maybe I guess I'm looking for okay. So page one. Honeybee Family Farm. Nice bee. Honeybee Family Farm. Okay, and I'm not sure if this is the most effective, and it's so small that you felt like you had to repeat them here. There may be another way of doing it, but I'm all about the bees. That's great. That's fun. Mentorships, really, in beekeeping. That's pretty neat. Okay, so we have, wow, it's a lot of honey there, isn't it? Honeycomb, yum, Buddha wax figures. Okay, and so then we have a question, is this sticking to a grid? Well, this bar, first of all, is so far from the edge, and then it's narrower here. Okay, so, and that's kind of a concern because I would want everything lined up, if that makes sense. Okay, yeah, so, and then notice as I'm moving even this page, here's our headline, mentorship, and then there's a invisible line that goes across, and this is part of your grid, that goes to the top of these images and to the top of these letters, and I think this is holding to a grid, its own grid, pretty well. When I go to the next page, it shifts. Do you see that? See how it shifts? And this one is not holding to that. So this I feel is a little bit stronger because it's less crammed up at the top. And I think there's a nice separation between things. It feels more organized. It takes up the space better. Maybe this is a screen capture of another site. Yeah, I think it is. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then here's our second one, 2 hives honey. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Go to, oops, this looks like it was submitted in the wrong area. Okay. So I think this is a capture, I'm guessing. Okay. So one thing that I think is working really well on this, and I guess I could evaluate, I mean, we have a header, search bar, some icons, and then a sub. Here's the navigation, how to get around. It's great. So maybe this whole thing is the header, and then it's separated into the nav. They have a little bar for dropping in either breadcrumbs to tell you where you're at, or extra little bits, and then a big splash image that kind of a hero image. And we see that repeated on page to page to page. So fantastic, nice work, EMP. Her universe looks nice. That's a giant search bar. I'm not sure if that's needed. Okay, yeah, looking good, looking good. Okay, so here, kind of going off a couple of inspirations you've seen, which I think look great. Okay, very good. And this is yours. This is Grace's stuff. So far, so good. Look at, I mean, you kind of went off what was already there, so good, excellent. Okay, so one thing I'm going to suggest, I do like that this is staying the same. Okay, you've followed it so closely. Why it jumps around a bit is because it's just a different size page. It's okay to have it cut off, right? It's okay to have it cut off because we know we need to scroll. But okay, cool. And then here's the third page and the fourth. And it looks really, really clean because we're following something that a professional has done. It looks nice. I think you've at least used it as inspiration. I don't think you followed it exactly, but yeah, nice work on this. Okay, very good. We'll go to the next. Okay, so here someone has done Sports Shack. looks like Kimberly. And we have sports and then equipment. One thing about this is, I'm guessing this is the home page. To get to this, I don't know what was clicked, so I don't know where we are. Here's it. I mean, it says soccer gear and equipment. Did we click sport to get to soccer? Or did we get equipment to get here? So I think some indicator of where you're at is helpful. Could be it just changes color, gets an underline, gets a box, gets bigger, bolder, whatever. But yeah, this is working nice. Yeah, I think it's looking nice. I mean, I guess I feel like this is handled a little differently than here, but maybe this is, you know, first level, and then you go to the second level, and then here's the product itself. So that's okay, you know. I am a little, I mean, this is baseball helmets. This feels gigantic compared to like soccer equipment. And I wonder if we just keep it nice and a little bit quieter, just like this header over above the filter. And then, you know, we can do something else up in this area here. And then, okay, here's a lot of research in one big page. Yep, nav, latest sale. There's filter on the side, okay. Okay, so we're missing, okay, that's fine. Yeah, so you're kind of breaking down how that shopping works and the process to get from one to another. In fact, you're looking at a different category, which is fine, or a different site, which is fine with me. No, did we not see? Oh yeah, we only saw one page that you created. So Dick's Sporting Goods is what you're looking at. We have a category, subcategories. Yep. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is looking good. Thumbnails 1. Okay. Good with that. Thumbnails 2. Yeah. Yeah. Think in grid. So here's margins. This one's missing a margin unless it's like kind of an imagined where all the text butts up against that margin. Margin. So I guess this one's just kind of missing that, I feel. But yeah, good one. I'm going to go to the next student. Okay. All right. So here's a place called Shoe. And there's I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We have the header, footer, and then content, which looks great. It's the home page. Hopefully we're seeing some indicator. Yeah, so if we see women and children's shoes, this can highlight or something so we know where we're at. Yeah, okay. Okay. What I think is going good about this is that there's different size type that each shoe it keeps in an area, that the name of the shoe is all in the same size, so that feels consistent. We have a price the same size, a buy now the same size, a rating the same size, and it feels like it's put together, and frankly just it feels like it's on a grid and it's working well. This is repeated over and over, which I don't really like. We're looking for 4 different pages, not women's shoes, men's shoes, and sports shoes or something like that, but you know what I mean. Okay, so, and here I'm assuming is the research and thumbnails. Okay, so you looked at shoes.com, and then this one was Shoe Palace. Okay. Great, okay. And then here's our thumbnails. A home page. Okay, home page. page. All right, so we were looking, this is nice, this is a good little key. It's a great idea because then you don't have to draw everything out in such detail. We understand what's there very quickly with images, buttons, icons, text. Nice, good. Okay, yeah, that works well. Another shoe shop. Homepage, I'm assuming. Okay, so now we have some indicator of where we're at. And the notice the logo, the nav, and the social media and the footer do not jump around. They stay solid, which is great. Nice job. What does jump around is the size of these images and where they're placed and stuff. So that's a little bit making me dizzy, where if they were all the same size, we would be a lot better off. So here's our thumbnails. Okay, okay, all right, you have a logo on one's in the middle and one on the left, okay. Some captures, great. Okay, all right, excellent. Yeah, good job. Okay, so this is a person's personal art and photography, prints. Art Finder and Paper Collective, so we're going to hopefully see some Art Finder and some no visible footers unless you maybe go to the very bottom of the page, but they're way down on the page, right? Color scheme, bright red logo, gray, white, pale, light navy blue, some drop downs, slideshow. Okay, yeah, that's some good evaluation. And then here is the Paper Collective breakdown. Excellent. And then we get the personal website. And good job on. We're supposed to have eight thumbnails. Well, maybe we'll have more. Nope, I don't think so. Now we're on the website. Okay, so simple sir, and a little bit of shifts in the logo and navigation, which is a little bit strange. Seems like this should be repeated on all the pages, would be my guess. And yeah, but other than that, I think just keep to the grid. Yeah, I see this going so far so good. Going to our next student. This is a biking site. I do actually like the alignment of all these items. I feel so. Here's the thing. Since we read left to right, top to bottom, whatever's in the top left is pretty important. And I would probably, I mean, our logo is going to be most important. So I would probably move these social media icons away from the top left corner, probably over here above the search bar or down at the bottom or under the search bar, something like that. But it's that big a deal of where they, you know, where we look. Okay, yeah, I could see this. Yeah, that's nice. That works well. Good. Yeah, cool. Okay, so things are aligning. Here we have different levels. So this is the home page, and we have kind of a action item or action type image. Here's product, a very specific single product, and then now we're looking at apparel, top level. Okay, so logo on the right, logo on the top, middle. And here we're looking at Trek site, some different road tires, different road bikes, I'm guessing. and then bikes online. Okay, and I'm hoping we, okay. So what we're missing here is kind of a breakdown of the sites. What did you learn from the sites that you had made screen captures of? Not seeing that. All right. Oh, good. Colors neutral. Fun tutorials. Columns. So here's one thing when we're evaluating either our work or someone else's work. To say something is eye-catching or works extremely well, how does it? How does it work extremely well? Why is it eye-catching? Well, I mean, if we were to look at this, you go, the pink and the turquoise are nearly opposites on the color wheel. So we have like these opposing colors, complementary. Anyway, so the colors are working. They're eye-catching because of that, because of their contrast. Well organized because of the columns, the alignment of items, because of the grid that's underlying it, and they work well because they're opposites on the color wheel. And okay, so colors are neutral. Well, blue's not neutral. And I think it's just kind of a misnomer to say things are neutral. So I would watch out for that. So we have a light khaki, a darker khaki, and then a blue. And then as we move to the next page, yeah, 3-column. Okay, all right. Well, that's okay. So one thing I'm very I'm watching out for is, okay, so see the QR code, kind of the wrong place for it, because the QR code sends you to the website. Oh, I see, this may be an Instagram one, so you go to Instagram. Maybe on, I'm not sure when you would use the QR code on a website, because you're already online. So I'd probably shy away from that. The pictures, I mean, this kind of a arrangement, unsure if that works terribly well. Okay. Okay. Copyright's awful big. It's like a lot of, it's saying this is really important, but it's not. So keep it nice and small and just tuck it away somewhere off to the side. Let's see. So we have the nav on the left. Okay. All right. Yeah, so some things to keep in mind is this cookies and this cupcakes are probably on the same hierarchy. In other words, I click cookies and I see this one. I click cupcakes and I see this one. And cake pops, I see this one. So these should be the same size, same location, and this cake pop should be highlighted too. So that's kind of important, and they're 3 different sizes. So keeping the levels the same. So another idea, another thought to consider is this type is probably your text weight, your text typeface, and so is this, and then also so is this. So they should be the same size. Okay. All right. Thank you. And then the next one. Okay. This is a capture, sure. 2 column grids, silver, gray, black, blue. When you say 2 column, so this is kind of a main, this is a side column because it's smaller and it doesn't house a lot of the important information. This is where the important information is. So yeah, it's 2 column. Just be aware of that, that there are kind of sidebar things. We're in a kind of a 3 column grid, right? Breaks down to that. And now we're back to a 2. Although the nav all stays the same. Okay. And now, sorry about that, 4 column grid. And what I like a lot about this is we have an image that draws our attention and then some type underneath it, some details that have to do with that. Great. I'm not sure where 8 column grid comes from. Yeah, this is a 4. Right. Oh, I see. You're on to the SRK homepage. Okay. So let me just show you this, and hopefully this will work. I'm gonna do a quick a quick screen capture of this. And then I'm going to open it in Photoshop. And let me just kind of center this. Okay, so I'm in Photoshop right now, and there's a column here. There's also, so I'm going to break down this grid a bit for us. See how these things are aligning to different things. Logo, this bit of type here, which maybe should be moved over a hair. Okay, and then see how those, and then we'll have to have a few more bits here, and then we'll put one here and one here, and then there is a left side to this type, and this is about where it ends. Now, if we look close, we can probably figure out that, oops, I probably moved that over just a little too much, that this area, here to here, I'm gambling now, I think it's going to be about the same size as this area, yeah. These two, so these two are the same size, or they should be. Maybe my thing's a bit off. Let's see if this matches up with anything, this wide border. It's a really complicated little grid here. But you can see some things do kind of match up where it goes close to this type. What's very popular right now, and I think I mentioned this before, is a 12 column grid. And I'm not sure if this portrays that very well, but I'm just going to continue forward here. Just wanted to show you some things that actually do align. Okay. Okay, so another SRK page, and then we go to an Evo. Here's some thumbnails. Now, this grid is this underlying thing that keeps structure. I see a nice grid happening here and here. Here, if we maybe had a headline that filled in or that handled this top area. So here's our page 1 that Marcus designed. Page 2. Three, 4. Okay. Yeah, nice job on the top area because it all stays still. I mean, that grid in the middle area. So we have a grid happening on the outside, right? But everything is lining up. It's not moving, but it's lining up. And one thing we want to do is have these have a similar alignment. Okay. Good. Okay, so here's our process book. It's vans and zoomies. Okay, and the notes, great, good. Column grid, categories for items for sale, some colors, some navigation, and then about pictures. Great job on this. Full marks on that. That's excellent. And this looks really good because here's 2 different directions. Here I see the logo, or the nav is down the left side, and the nav is a bar at the bottom of the main header area. Yeah, looking good. Okay, so I'll move this to fit page. So this is our first one. Some things I like right off is I do like how this type fits in the negative space here. Now, it doesn't mean you always have to do this, but when I see it, I go, oh, this person looks like Richie is understanding that there is a negative space here, and this type can fit into it. Okay, and yeah, this looks pretty good. Although, I mean, this also could benefit from an underlying grid because the lines jump around a little bit. But yeah, well done on this. Move this over, and we'll go to the next student. And I am going to go a little faster on these because I think we're seeing a lot of reoccurring things. Great. Yeah, this is really good analysis. And here are, no, this is another site. And then here we are for the Fuji 5 Lakes travel. That's working pretty nice, isn't it? Cool. Nice job. Like it. Again, grid, or we all could benefit from grid, right? We all could. Okay. So this looks like 1 page. Not sure why it's 1 page, but it's 1 page. Okay. Okay, a couple of research sites. And I guess this is our site, Hourglass Jeans. Okay. Okay, pretty nice, right? Yeah, so there's a lot of good things working on this. This working with this site. Good one, good one. Excellent. Okay. Here's the website. The background changing out is, I wouldn't do that. Not suggested at all. We're missing all the research as well. So yeah, that's going to be important. But some of this main content area stays the same, and your nav moves around, which is great. You can see the blue box shifting a bit as I go. There's a okay. Okay, I'm going to put my marker right here. We can see it shift. I see that shift. It moved down and even further, and then back up almost. Okay, so that's what that's missing. Okay. Okay. There we go. Looks like an art store. Okay. I mean, it looks pretty nice. Looks good. There's some things that need fixed, but for the most part, yeah, well done. We got a home page. Kind of what, a sales page? I'm not sure. I don't know what's being pushed because I don't see any area being, you know, activated. I don't see it here either. So that would help. These do look pretty darn big over here, so I'd watch out for that. Okay, good, thank you. Okay. This is the design site. So, I mean, we'd benefit by a grid, right? That would be helpful. Also, when you're doing type, this much reading, these long lines are kind of not conducive to easy reading. And that's what we do as graphic designers. We help get the content to the reader's hands and mind quickly. But yeah, so we actually should limit the length of a line, which is called the medium, to about 50 to 70, I think. 70 is pushing it, but 50 to 60, 65 characters, including spaces per line. Okay. You can see things are jumping a little bit. So this person's doing a lot of pages. And here's some documentation, some thumbnails. You know, one idea about thumbnails is that they're there to explore layout. So you try things out in thumbnails, and then if they don't work, you move on. It's not to real and to quickly lay things out. Okay, so now we're getting into the research. Okay, and I don't see the second site. I see a lot of so this IXI logo, I see that happening on pages 1 through, I don't know what that is. Maybe that's the same site. I don't know. 2, 3, 4. So at least 5, 1 through 5, and then 6, 7, 8, or it look like the same type of site. And then here it's kind of some documentation. You're breaking it down a little bit, some thumbnails. Well, okay, all right. Okay, thanks. yeah, looking for, okay, so here's some notes on this site, and then hopefully some notes on this site, which is great. And now we're moving to thumbnails, which very nice. And then now we're looking, I think we've already seen this actually. Oh, I know what happened. I saved this is the low res version so I can get to it quickly. All right, we have 3 more. All right. Not really sure what this is. Okay. Okay. All right. So I think that was it. That was the last of it here. Thanks for sticking to it. Maybe watch the first half. There's a lot of good information in there. We'll talk about grid, and we will talk about how to design within a grid and how to design a little bit without of the grid, and how to design multiple products. Okay. That fall within a family. So in other words, multiple, either, well, stay tuned. We'll see. Thanks, everyone.